Hi everyone! Today's video will be a bit different. It will be a what sold video, something that I'm not doing often, but today I'm going to show you everything that I've sold on eBay, Rakuten and Amazon FBA over the last week. I'll tell you more after this. Bonjour à tous, c'est Christophe ici, also known as That French Bloke, and no, don't worry, this is indeed an English-speaking language, or kind of English, anyway. As you've seen in the intro, today will be a what sold video. That is not something I do often, because I tend to concentrate on what I've bought rather than what I sell. Why is that? Easy. It's when you buy that you make your money in this business. When you buy it. Selling a camera equipment at market price, dead easy. Put it on eBay, it will sell. Buying it at half the market price at least, that is where it's difficult. That is where you need to know what to buy and to choose. And that is really how you make your money. That's where the skill is. That is why I tend to concentrate more on the buying than on the selling. But I can understand as well. I love to see others eBayer doing what sold video because it gives you a good idea of how it actually sold, for how much money it actually sold, and what was the item. So that's what we're going to see in this video together, what I've sold, for how much money, how much it cost me, and all those sort of things. The first thing I sold on Monday was a car light. It's a backlight for a Renault, and I sold it for €31.50. Car lights is certainly not something that I consider my specialty, but about this time last year, I was able to buy basically a big van load of car lights. Most of them brand new, some of them second hand, like this one is second hand, and I've paid €700 for all of those, which give me an average price per item of €4.88. So it was quite cheap. I knew when I bought it that it would take me at least a year to sell everything. Well, I'm a year in and I've sold about half of them. I've got my money back several times, so that's fine, but I still have a lot and they're taking lots of space. This one was a small one, not taking that much space, and I sold it for €31.50. Next, it's another backlight for Renault Clio, like the one before, but it's a much older version, this one. And it sold for €18, quite cheap. For information, my average price of those lights on the lot is about €50. It's much more than that, but hey. Next item, a lens. An old, very old Nikon 100mm lens, 105mm lens, sorry. Let's have a look at it. So it was listed at $129 and I sold it for €80. Only €80. And why only €80? Because I was busy when I received the offer and I got confused between that lens and another one that I was quite keen to get rid of. So I sold that one for €80. But that's, I'm still making, I think, about €40 profit on that, so it's still quite good, but I could have done better with that. You have to take care when you accept an offer to make sure that it is the item you think it is. Anyway, it's still a sale. Next, and that is interesting, the next sale is on the 11th of November. I have to admit with you, this week here was quite good, and there is a good reason for that. Lately, my sales have been dragging a bit because I've been myself dragging a bit. I don't spend enough time working on my business as I should. I have good excuses for that. I have a 9 to 5, which is sometimes more than a 9 to 5, which is my job that feeds the whole family and that I still need to rely on. I do those videos as well, that takes me sometimes, and I have a few other personal projects as well that are all taking me time. So it's not easy to find time to do everything, but I'm doing my best. I'm okay, but I know that if I was devoting more time and attention to my business, I would sell more. So I came to an agreement last week actually with my wife is that I will dedicate my Saturdays only working on my business. The whole Saturday I will have to work on my business so that I can list stuff, because some of the stuff that I've listed this week I had them for a few months, which is not good, not good. 11th of November in France is a bank holiday, so I took the whole day listing stuff. Well, I did other thing. I've listed exactly 11 items on that day. For 11 items, this is not too much. I know that some people can list like 20, 30 items a day. With camera equipment, I think you have to take care of how you present it and what you write about. You make sure that it's exact, that everything's working. You have to test well. It's quite a bit of work, but still 11 items that I've listed on the 11th of November. It was for a total value of 3,666 euros exactly. So not that many items, but a fair amount of money. So that is the first item that sold. It's an item that I've listed that day. It sold the same day. Let's have a look. That is a lens that used to belong to me until I sold it. I've listed it for 325 euros and I took an offer. No, sorry. Yeah. No, I didn't take an offer. I sold it for the price, 325 euros. Those Nikon 24-120mm lenses, the price have gone down lately. I wish I could have sold it for more money. I know that a few months ago I would have sold it for 450 easily, 450, 500. But the price have come down, so take care with that lens. So next item, it's a little lens for Lumix cameras. It's a 14mm 2.5. It's a very good lens actually, and I sold it for 125 euros. It's one of the lenses that I bought when I was on holidays, and I never listed it since, which is a pity, real pity. But it sold in a few hours again for the asking price, 125 euros, and I think I'm like 50 euros in that thing. So it's quite good. It's quite good, and it's macroscopic. It weighs like 100 grams. It's mad. Next item is a Nikon D300, and that is a very, very good camera. I used to have one. That's actually the first Nikon camera I had when I moved from Canon to Nikon. That's the camera I bought. And at the time, brand new, it was over 1,000 euro. I sold that one for 120 euros. It's very well built camera. It's very nice to use. It's really a professional camera in a small format. I love those cameras, but I have to admit they were very good 10 years ago. Nowadays you find much better on the market. Having said that, at 120 euro, it's a good price. You've got a fantastic piece of equipment for very little money. This one came with its box, with its original bill, with everything that it should come with, and it was in good condition. It had 68,000 shutter count, which is okay. A camera like that should survive easily 150,000 shutters count. So you can take 150,000 pictures. That is what it's designed for. Having said that, the D300 has a design flaw, and many of them, the shutters goes off around 50,000 mark. When I said the shutter, actually, it's a mirror. When to take the picture, the mirror that you use when you are framing goes up, and on many of them, once they go up, it doesn't go back down. You have to take another picture for it to come down, which is very annoying. But that happens around 50 usually. If it's past the 50 mark, like here at 68, it's safe to go for a long time now. So that was a good thing for this camera. Next, it's a lens, a zoom lens, 28 to 105 Nikon AFD, I think. Yeah, AFD. That's a lens that I have in my stock for months. It's been listed for months. I can't remember when I bought it. I'm sure I can find it in my records. But for some reason it never sold, and this time it sold. What I've noticed is that when you list a lot, then eBay will show your listing, all your listing, in a more favorable manner. If you sell regularly, even your old listing will be kind of refreshed and be seen by more people. If you stop updating your shop, if you don't list anything on eBay, all your listing will go to the bottom of the pile and it's become harder to sell. So that's where I'm failing, is that sometimes I'm 3-4 weeks without listing anything, and then I have a big explorer and I list a lot of things, but I should list regularly. That is one of the secrets of selling regularly, is to list regularly. Not because you are necessarily selling the items that you've been listing, but it's because it helps also selling your old items. Next item, it's an item that pay me to sell. It was hard for me to take the decision of selling it. It's a Nikon D4, and that was my personal camera for about 1.5 years. I love this camera. It's a professional camera, top of the range from Nikon. It was worth $6,500 when it was brand new. And I had to sell it, not because I need the money, but because I'm not using it that much anymore. I'm doing more and more videos, and the Nikon D4 in videos is not really good. I used to take lots of pictures and don't do videos. I used to have a work, well, I still have that work, so I should say my work used to involve lots of traveling. And when I say lots of traveling, I was gone like at least 25 weeks a year. So at least half of the time, I was abroad. And sometimes even like every week for several months in a row. I used to travel for the first few years. I used to travel like only in what we call EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And after I had a few years where I was traveling the world over, I went to Japan, India many times. I went to Doha, New York, Toronto quite often because that's where my company is based. And what I will do is, obviously during the day I will work, and at night I will take pictures. Being back home for a long time, I don't have that much time to go out and take pictures. So my Nikon D4, I sold it for 900, well, I listed it for 999 euros and I sold it for 890. Over 1.5 years ago, I bought the same camera, I bought this camera actually, for 850, including shipping. So I'm making 40 euros, which is not much, but then that wasn't the intention of this camera. This camera was for me. But that is not the end of my profit on this camera. This camera comes with a charger. If you see here, there is a big charger included. There are big batteries and big chargers. And the Nikon charger resell for about 200 euros, which is, I find, an insane amount of money for a charger. So what I did is I've listed the charger separately, and I bought on Amazon a charger that you can see here for less than 60 euros. So I'm going, basically, it's like turning 60 euros into 200 euros. So I'm going to add of those 40 euros benefit that I'm done on that camera, I'm going to add another 140 euros. It's still not like a worthwhile investment if it was just for resale, but I had lots of fun with this camera. I really like it. It's a pity that I can't use it more. I mean, it's a fantastic camera to take pictures. In terms of making video with it, it's poor. That's not what it's made for, and you can feel it. I'd rather use a little Lumix camera to do my videos. Next, we have a focusing screen. What is a focusing screen? Basically, when you look through the visor in a reflex camera, you see that the image is done on a little piece of matte glass. That is the focusing screen. High-end cameras, depending on the application, you can change the focusing screen for the one that is more geared to what you do. You can have some grids, some have what we call like Fresnel lentils, some have a rangefinder. Yes, you can have various things on the focusing screen, and you may want to change one to another. Also, sometimes they get really dirty and they're impossible to clean, so it's a good idea to change them sometimes. I've sold mine for 20 euros. I think I had it listed for a year, but hey, that's the sort of thing that sometimes you find when you buy like a set of camera. With it, you will find a focusing screen. I always list them for 20 euros. It always take forever to sell, but it does sell, and it goes through the post like in a little envelope. It's very easy to post. Next, I sold a Nikon FT2, or more exactly, a Nikon Matte FT2. Okay, those are really old cameras. They date from the beginning of the 70s. This one I've sold wasn't in good condition. Cosmetically, it was okay, just okay. But there were bad contact on the cell, which means that the diode that give you the exposure was jumping up and down sometimes, which is really a pain. So I've listed it for 35 euros and accepted an offer at 30 euros on it. Next, an Helios lenses. It's a Russian lens that date from 60s, 70s. I think originally it was on some of their Kiev camera, which were copies of Contax camera. So they share the same mount as the Contax camera. They are little rangefinder lenses, and they are quite good lens. Very compact, very heavy as well, strangely. But there is a market for them. I've sold mine at 30 euros. It's not something that I would normally buy. It was something that I was included in a set of camera equipment that I bought. Then I sold this lovely Nikon D3100 red. I have to say, it's look lovely, and this is a very good deal for me. On Friday evening, I saw on Marketplace the ad for this camera. It just been published, 60 euros, and the camera had to be picked up about 2 miles from where I live. So I've messaged instantly. I said, I'm interested in your camera. Can I come and see tomorrow morning? And we agreed that I will go the next morning, Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. I will go and pick it up, which I did. Paid the 60 euros for it. I've listed it Saturday afternoon. And Saturday evening, so the very same day which I bought it, it sold for the asking price of 139 euros, netting me about like 80 euros profit on this camera, which is good. Maybe I could have sold it for a bit more money, but I think that's a fair price. Funnily enough, I've cross-posted that camera. I've posted it on eBay and on Rakuten, which is another website where I sell some camera equipment, and I did not have time to remove it from there once it's sold on eBay, and on Sunday morning it sold on there as well. I had to cancel the sale, obviously, but it just shows how such a fast seller it is. Those red cameras, they are rare, but they do sell like hotcakes. It's only the second time that I have a red camera, and it's the second time that it sells within a day. So if you find one for cheap, go for it, because they have their public. People really like them. I have to say they're nice. Next, it's a micro four thirds zoom lens. It's a standard zoom that you find with many of the Panasonic Lumix camera. 14, 42, sold it. Well, I've listed it for 69 euros and I sold it for 60 euros, which I reckon it's a fair price. And I sold it in 2 days as well. This one, it's a nice little lens. It's just not something that I would recommend necessarily looking for again, but if you buy Lumix camera, it's a good idea to sell the body on one side, the lens on the other side, and that way you make more money. Sometimes I still do sell the two together, especially on the lower range of them. People want a kit. If it's higher end stuff, people will choose their body on one side, their lens on the other side, and it's a good idea to put them together. And that's it for the sale on eBay. So last week I sold 13 items on eBay for a total of €1,983.50. Not too shabby. Next, let's have a look at Rakuten. I always have problem pronouncing that name. Rakuten is basically a Japanese company. They have sites all over the world. I think they are present in America, and they are certainly present in France. It's what I like with their site is that for some reason, often I sell my items for more money on their site than I would do on eBay. People seem to trust it more. So it's a good idea to, if you have like electronic equipment, to sell it on Rakuten. If you are in the buying market, maybe not so. So the first item I sold on Rakuten was a Panasonic Lumix 14mm 2.5. So I sold two of those lenses last week, one on eBay, one on Rakuten. And I've sold it for 110 on Rakuten, which is a bit less than I did on eBay actually. So that totally contradicts what I've just said, but that is not how it is normally. And once again, I have less than half of that in the lens. The second item I sold on Rakuten, it's a 50mm, it's a Nikon 50mm 1.4 lens. It's the top of the range of the 50mm lens in the Nikon range. It's a very, very good lens, and it's quite reasonable in terms of price. I've sold mine for 226, which is basically the market rate. Okay. Very good lens. So €226 from Rakuten, and that's the two items I've sold on Rakuten next week. So that's another €336. And now let's have a look at Amazon sales. So last week I sold mainly some decks of cards. I've mentioned them many times. It's the one that I buy for 99 centimes in a supermarket, and that I sell on Amazon FBA for €9.99. So apart from those decks of cards, I sold other more interesting stuff. On Friday, I sold a drum for a printer, a Dell Printer, and I sold it for €57. If you remember, a few weeks ago, well, maybe a couple of months ago now, I did a video about how I bought a big lot of toner cartridges and drums for printer, and that was part of it. If I remember well, I had an average item price for €5 something, €6 almost, and I sold this one for €57. And on that day, I also sold 3 decks of cards. On Saturday now, let's have a look at what I've sold on Saturday. On Saturday, I've sold some pastel, strangely enough. That is an item that I've never really got interested in. I sometimes buy it at the same shop where I buy the cards, and I think I buy them for 65 centimes, and I sell them for, I think now it's $9.99. I used to sell them for €12, but some other people have concurrenced me. It's not a big seller, but I sold a few, and I'm making good money on it as well, so why not? I also sold 3 decks of cards, and I sold a pack of 3 VHS tape that I bought recently. That I did a video on those VHS tapes as well when I bought them, and it turns out that those VHS tapes are selling. They're selling well. I'm not going to become a millionaire with my VHS tape, but they're selling better than I was expecting. So now what I'm doing is, when I see an ad where I can get VHS tape for less than €2 a tape, I buy them. I wait until I have a few, and I'm going to send them to Amazon for Amazon FBA. And on Sunday, no decks of cards, nothing. I sold only one item on Sunday on Amazon FBA, and that is a toner cartridge for a Dell Printer again, and this time for €100. So it took a bit of time, but I made my money back on those toner cartridge. I've paid, if you remember, I've had €140 for the whole set of cartridge, which was an excellent price. The only caveat with that is that I had to go almost halfway across France to go and pick them up, which added another like €400 of expense when you account for petrol, hotel, and the tolls on the road as well. But still, now I've got all my money back, and I sell them like I sell usually one every week, so it will take me maybe a year to sell everything, but they are selling as well. It's easy money. So I'm happy with that purchase. So that's it for my weekly sale. Let's have a look at the total. Let's do a recap of the week. On eBay, I've sold for €1,983.50. On Rakuten, with those two items, I've sold them for €336. And on Amazon FBA, I've sold for €319 worth of stuff. So that gives us for the week a total of €2,638.50. For those of you who are American, I made the conversion for a change, and as of today, that is €2,638.50 is equal to $3,134.35. I should have more weeks like this one, definitely. I should work harder, because that is a goal that is easily achievable. Because if you look at it, between eBay and Rakuten, I've sold 13 items, not much. That's not a lot of work selling 13 items. FBA, I've sold more than 13 items on Amazon FBA, but that's not me that's working there. It's FBA, you just do a big batch at one point, and it's all managed by Amazon afterwards, so it's very, very easy. I could easily do 13 items a week. I would need to do that amount of sale every week regularly on average if one day I want to be able to replace my 9-to-5 job with my reseller job. At the moment, I'm far from it. How much markup did I do? Well, usually I do at least 50% markup. So out of €2,633, I should make easily €1,300 in my pocket, and that after fees and after the cost of purchase. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoy that type of video. I'm sorry, I may have been a bit long, but I hope you enjoy it. If you did, please press the like button. If you didn't, tell me in the comment below, and I'll see you next time. And also, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget.